Now, Buck, from a legal standpoint, can the FBI force Apple to override this passcode?
Well, force Apple is the issue. Under the law, under the Fourth Amendment, the protection of property from seizure, there's no question that the law allows the FBI to obtain a warrant, which it has, and then to get a court order to enforce that warrant. So there are no Fourth Amendment issues here. Access to this particular iPhone is to that one specific iPhone. And they're not asking to get the encryption data from Apple. All they want is how to get into the phone without destroying the data. And of course, we're not talking about some hypothetical. We're talking about potentially additional terrorist acts that are a threat to people in San Bernardino and that area. So this is not a hypothetical issue to be debated as far as a hypothetical circumstance. It is a specific case on a specific phone for a specific purpose, and the law requirements have been met.
Right, but I do think it's a little bit different than a warrant to get into someone's home, for example, because they're not just turning over a key. Apple would have to build a piece of code, write a piece of code to override this passcode. So it's not just turning over something that already exists in order to get access to this phone. They'd have to, it would basically be forcing them to write new code. Does that change it at all?
The government has required telecommunications companies since World War II to provide access to their capabilities for the security of the United States. The airwaves belong to the people, and the people are represented by the government. So the government has the right to go into court, not unilaterally, but to go into court, present it to a neutral judge, and make the case that this is essential to the protection of society. And that's what they have done. And you made the point earlier, Liz, that this is not for the entire system. This is for this one instrument. And once that's over with, they can destroy the code. The FBI is not asking for a continuing utilization of this particular code. And they're talking about a 4-digit code that if they don't get it right, it will destroy everything on that cell phone. And what if that has information that would save lives? I don't know how Apple can really look at this as being an issue of their commercial viability. It's a matter of national security.
Right. Then, Buck, to be blunt, what's Apple's problem here? They wrote that letter on their website, that open letter to iPhone users that talked about the threats that they foresee if they wrote this code. They talked about cyber criminals and hackers being able to access all of our financial and personal information that we store on the iPhone. If that's not the case, and what we've just been talking about says pretty clearly that it's not, because it would be just for this one specific iPhone, then why won't Apple comply?
Well, the Justice Department said something very unusual. They think Apple is marketing. This is a hellacious case to market with. This is a very life and death circumstance. And I think Apple is entirely wrong, and they need to rethink their situation. Yes, we don't want an open system that allows access by anybody, much less hackers and even government agencies. But where you go through the process that the law requires, and you can show that this particular item may have very essential information to save lives, Apple hadn't really got a leg to stand on, either legally or morally, in my view.
Well, if this is for marketing purposes, and I almost hope for Apple's sake that it's not, because like you said, this could be playing with people's lives. This is a pretty serious issue. Are they